Hello and welcome to Through Africa. It is still me, your host, Mercy Bamgola, and today we're joining you again live from our studios here in Ankara, Turkey, to talk about the Tanzanian experience as a student studying in an international country, a student studying abroad. And then right after that, we'll move to the political system of the country, where we'll be talking about how far the independence and the governance of the country has fared after gaining independence 63 years ago. So to talk more about this topic, I'll speak with Haithami Hamad Khamis, who is an undergraduate student of political science and international relations at Ankara Medipol University. Hello, Hamad.
Hello, Mercy.
Hello, and you're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I'd like us to just go directly into, the topic of discussion. And first of all, we'll talk about, the educational experiences as a Tanzanian student studying abroad, and then we'll move to, the democracy of the country itself. So can you tell us about your educational experience as a Tanzanian student studying in Turkey?
Well, my experience as a Tanzanian student in Turkey has been enriching and rewarding. The high-quality education, coupled with diverse cultural experiences, has significantly broadened my horizons. But also, the dedicated faculty and state-of-the-art facilities have provided me with ample opportunities to excel academically. So while Tanzania's education system is steadily improving, there's still room for enhancement, particularly in terms of resource allocation and infrastructure development in rural areas. So the system itself in Turkey is more practical based, and with projects and practical questions and exams, it gives the students more opportunities to apply the knowledge directly. But on the other hand, the Tanzanian system has the same features, but it's kind of limited due to resources.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm glad that you talked about, the Turkish system and then the the Tanzanian educational system. And I want to ask, in what way or ways do you think that the system abroad here is different from the Tanzanian educational system? You already mentioned some of it, but I would like us to also expand more on that point.
Okay, so while both systems aim to provide quality education, there are notable differences. The Turkish education system, as I said, places strong emphasis on practical learning and critical thinking. And additionally, the focus on research and innovation is more pronounced here. Things like TÜBİTAK projects, for example, a lot of students getting access to these as well is crucial. But also these aspects, as I said, while they're present in the Tanzanian system, they are often limited by resource constraints. So in Tanzanian system, however, it has a strong emphasis on cultural values and national identity, which is actually a very unique strength. So this also varies in terms of the department that someone is studying, okay? The perspective of my department as an international relations student and the medicine department, they are two different. So, for example, the medicine department here in Turkey is miles ahead of the Tanzanian one, but in terms of facilities, in terms of resources, in terms of the system itself as a whole. It's not just exam oriented, but also practical oriented. But also in Tanzania, the medical system isn't that bad, but also we cannot compare it to Turkey that much because the rankings of the universities speak for themselves. But still, I do believe that there is room for improvement for the Tanzanian education system. And also, we can use Turkey's system as a role model in terms of the education system as well, even though both systems do have room for improvement overall wise.
All right, so both systems have, their differences, and you would expect that these things would happen because we are talking about two completely different countries here. We have Tanzania that places more, focus on the values, the beliefs of the country as a whole and the people. And then we have Turkey, which is more practical based. As you said, the system is more practical based. So I would like to ask, in your 3 years of being an international student and studying in Turkey, what are the experiences or what are some of the practical experiences you've gained that you think are notable?
Okay, first of all, we can talk about various clubs in the universities, which is also present in Tanzanian universities. But at the end of the day, here it's more exposed to various institutions as well. And also the experience of the teachers, because talking on the international relations perspective, the teachers that we have at medical, for example, some of them have been diplomats before, some of them have huge background in terms of the university they studied in, and also not just that, but also in terms of knowledge, because in Tanzania, in terms of IR department, I can say that it's a bit focused more on African politics, but in Turkey, it's more diverse. You're taught various things like Russian politics, you're taught about Turkish politics, Middle Eastern politics, and African politics as well. So this diversity is crucial for a department like international relations. So we can also see the fact that in terms of preparation as a student in Tanzania, as an IR student, I can say you're more prepared to work in the African environment. But here in Turkey, it prepares you more as a diverse, like you can work anywhere in Middle East because you have knowledge, almost political knowledge, almost on every region of the world, which is actually crucial. But the last thing we can talk about is the application. Um, Exam orientation is not that bad, but also it has big detriments because for IR students, you learn things like negotiations, you learn things like communication skills, you learn things like diplomatic etiquette. So you have to start applying this as you are learning them in your department instead of waiting until you graduate. So this is also one of the notable differences here in Turkey as an international relations student. And it's one of the things that has improved me, not just as a human being, but as a student overall wise, generally, I can say that.
All right, there. Thank you, Hamad. So I'm glad that you also mentioned, some of the other departments in your university. For example, you talked about the medical department. Then you talk about. I know that you study in the political science and international relations department. So are these just the only departments that are available in your school?
No, no, there are a lot of departments over there, but actually I have a lot of friends in these departments. That's why I have information on them. There's other departments over there. There is technology, there is finance and economics as well. And also another aspect I can say is that, for example, for us international relations students, the curriculum is mixed. Okay, there's these elective courses. You have courses like innovation and entrepreneurship. You have courses like introduction to economics. So these are crucial, like they give you knowledge not just based on your department, but it's important to gain knowledge on the things that can help you in your life, like to sustain as well. So this is also another crucial aspect of the education system at the university that I'm currently attending.
Oh, great. I'm glad that you can also learn things outside of, the four walls of the classroom. Now, what are the challenges you have faced as an international student? No, as an international student, first of all, and then as an international relations student in Turkey.
Okay, that's a very good question, actually. So, in terms of challenges, the primary challenge is that language barrier, okay, language and cultural environment. So here in Turkey, a lot of places, Turkish is the most common language, okay? So as a new student, as a new like person coming in this country, in the beginning it's gonna be hard. And also, especially if you're studying your department in English, you won't focus more on learning the Turkish language. But on the other hand, I will advise my fellow students who are going to come in the future and those who are currently here right now, it's important to learn the Turkish language because things like shopping and like living in this environment is crucial to understand their language. But also we can say that universities are doing their best in terms of providing language courses and supporting services to help international students. And we can say that also as an international relations student, some opportunities like some conferences, some seminars that are done in Turkish language. So this is kind of a bit challenging, especially in the first years. But from third and fourth year onwards, I can say that you kind of adapt a bit to the system. So by that time, you have a bit of basic Turkish. You can at least use to understand and speak some few words in these seminars and conferences, which is also a good thing. But another challenge we can talk about homesickness and the rules and regulations as well over here. Because homesickness is normal to an international student since you missed your home and stuff, but you can overcome it by socializing and also meeting various students from various countries. But on the other hand, when we talk about as an IR student as well, we can say that it also varies. There's those who are studying in English, which is a bit easier for them, and those who are studying in Turkish. So those who are studying in Turkish also becomes hard because the department is more analytical, it's more writing based. So language barrier is one of the most and common challenge as an international student. But rules and regulations, this is crucial because we can see resident permits, we can see students facing various challenges in terms of this issue. But it's important to have close ties with your embassy and also having connections with various international students because the rules keep on changing, and then if you're not updated about them, then it's going to be detrimental in one way or another in the future.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned that, students should get themselves familiarized with, the embassy and organizations that can also help them. So how would you say the Tanzanian community abroad has been helping to incorporate students into the culture of the country?
Okay, so the Tanzanian community is doing very well at the moment because there is some preparation, like some workshop for those who just come in. They're being taught about the rules and regulations. They're being taught, like in terms of resident permit application, you have to follow this procedure and stuff. But also there are forms that are being filled. Keep track of the total number of Tanzanian international students here in Turkey. And also there is WhatsApp groups that keep on updating students about the changes in rules, about the information, about things to consider when doing certain types of things, and overall. So overall, I can say that 9 out of 10, I think the Tanzanian community in Turkey is doing well in terms of updating students and helping them general wise in terms of settling in the country. But also students are free to share their questions or their doubts in those groups, and also the leading members of those groups in return help us a lot in terms of tackling such kind of issues or giving directions when we are kind of struggling in one problem or another.
All right there, Hamad. It's great to hear that, the Tanzanian community is helping. I mean, this is a very important one because you're going into a foreign country without, the adequate knowledge, but when you have people around you, it makes it, a lot better. Now let's talk about Tanzania itself. Let's talk about the political system. Let's talk about, how the democracy has fared after a long while. The country celebrated 63 years of independence just on Monday. That's a few days ago. How well would you say the democracy has fared since, gaining independence?
Okay. First of all, thank you for the good wishes of independence. So Tanzania has made significant strides since gaining independence, particularly in areas like education, healthcare, and infrastructure development. The government's commitment to social welfare programs has positively impacted the lives of many citizens, but however, there are still challenges that are looming, such as poverty, inequality, and corruption still persisting in the country. So the recent transition under President Samia Suluhu Hassan has brought a renewed focus on good governance, transparency, and inclusivity, which holds promise for the future. So briefly, I can say that Tanzania started as a mono-party system and later transitioned to a multi-party system. So still there is room for growth for the Tanzanian democracy. But the best thing is the fact that the foundation that has been set by our late President Julius Nyerere, which is peace and stability in the country, has been maintained. So far, if you look at our neighbors, for example, there have been a lot of political turmoil going on. But in Tanzania, we have had peaceful power transitions. We rarely had we didn't have any civil war due to elections and stuff, even though we have received some criticisms from the international community due to some key reasons. But overall, I can say that we are doing well. We are growing as a democratic country, because even Africa overall, only one country, which is Mauritius, is the one that is generally recognized as a fully democratic country. And Tanzania ranks 15th out of 54 countries democratically. So we cannot say it's bad, but also not 100% good. But it's not bad either, because we are still growing and there is still room for further improvement as a democratic nation. So time, we will be there. Yes,
that
sir.
was a good one. That was a good one. You know, it's great to actually hear that an African country is making progress. And, you know, know a little bit about the Tanzanian image, the image it has on the global stage. And I would say it has fared to a very good extent. You know, sometimes when you mention Zanzibar or you see pictures of it, some people are like, oh, is this also in Africa? So yeah, Tanzania has, there's still room for improvement, but the growth is commendable. Now, let's talk about, you know, the relationship between Tanzania and Turkey. I think this one should be coming to you as a new one, you know, as a topic, but it just came to my mind right now. I remember recently the Tanzanian president, that's President Samir, she was in Turkey. She was actually in Ankara, and I had the opportunity of also being at that program. And I think that to a certain extent, there has been a growth in the relationship. What would be your comments about, you know, the relationship between Turkey and Tanzania?
Well, I feel proud of my country because we rarely have conflict with any other nations. But Tanzania and Turkey, so far the relations have been growing stronger in the recent years. And as you said, our president recently visited the country. There have been various agreements signed on education, on health, and also on economic development. But also in Tanzania, we've had various projects being conducted, special construction and engineering by Turkish companies. But also you have this Yetebe, I'm sure you know it and you've heard of it. Like a lot of Tanzanians are getting education opportunities here in Turkey, which is also a good thing. So this increases the expertise, increases the knowledge of Tanzanian students, but also it's good that diplomatic relations between the two countries are good, because if diplomatic relations are broken between two nations, this impacts all other aspects, and also as students are going to suffer in one way or another. But the good relations between the two countries has played a big role in terms of us being safe here, but not just that, in terms of rules and regulations overall as an international student, it's also crucial in one way or another. So overall, it's a good thing that the countries have good diplomatic relations, but also the education agreements signed, the economic agreements signed, and development agreements are also good and perfect, and hopefully they've been recently signed. So I cannot say that they're 100% good because we need to see the fruits of them, and we are waiting, and time will tell on that. But overall wise, it's fantastic to have good relations between the two countries, Turkey and Tanzania, and hopefully this relationship won't be stained and will continue getting stronger and stronger in the future, and therefore encourage more economic opportunities for both countries and education also for the students in both countries as well.
All right, there. Thank you very much, Hamad. And fortunately, we would have to end the program here because of our time. But I'm so glad that you were able to come on the show and, you know, talk about your perspective and give us more information about that. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing your knowledge with us. We hope to see you again on the program.
I see.
Okay, we've talked about Tanzania and the political system. We'll continue the program after a very short commercial break, and I'll see you after that break. Thank you.